Will this couple live happily ever after? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah. This video was originally posted on TikTok. The mysterious video of what appears to be a wedding party is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. A pair of newlyweds sit together with a forlorn look on their faces, while an officiant reads through some documents or scripture with the wedding party gathered round. We can assume all is normal, but a moment later something unsettling happens. Watch the bride-to-be. What came over her? Her eyes grow wide as though she's suddenly become possessed by something. She then follows an unknown object above before having a strange fit and appearing to silently scream in pain. Did a mysterious force from above possess her? Or did that force simply strike in that moment and cause her agonizing pain? It's hard for me to tell here what may have happened without further context or an extended video, but if I had to guess, I'd say something possessed her. It's all in the eyes. J-Game has been having problems with a stalker lately who has been coming around his home dressed like a clown. He is pretty sure it is just some local high school students who watch his channel, but lately they've been growing bolder and now something new has pushed him to his absolute breaking point.
I'm scared to be in my own house like that. That's a problem. This is Max. This is Max.
One day, he returns home only to find a creepy letter inside of a tattered envelope with red stains all over. The outside says, "We followed you home," and the inside says that they are going to come for him at 2 o'clock. Instead of calling the police, J-Game decides to handle this problem himself. He keeps his camera rolling and waits at home all day for them to come over. Hours later, 2 loud bangs from outside send a jolt of adrenaline coursing through him. Instead of rushing out the door, he sneaks upstairs to get a better look at his adversary. He sees someone dressed like a clown with a scary mask and bright orange hair. The person doesn't look very large, maybe about the size of a high schooler, but it's the menacing posture combined with the baseball bat that keeps J-Game away. He waits a long time before going outside, where he finds the gate has been left wide open. It seems like they are gone for the time being, but who knows when they will be back again. Oftentimes, creepy things happen when you least expect it, but it's a rarity when you capture that moment on video. In this video's description, the uploader Junked Up Kitten notes that the footage was simply meant to be the crew fooling around, but instead they captured footage in the old county jail that once you see it, you can't unsee it. The uploader explains that the building manager of this defunct jail was friends of his father, so he let the boys film for nearly 6 hours. The group just wanted to fool around in there. They never imagined they'd catch anything spooky, and that's when things got real. We had no intention of actually looking for ghosts. We were just being dumb kids, the uploader writes. However, when we were editing our spoof, we found this face in the window. Only the 3 boys, the uploader and his 2 friends were on site when the footage was captured. His friends were sitting at the booking desk, while the uploader is in frame, oblivious to the man's face behind him, with a mouth wide open as though it's yelling. The spooky image appears to be in a holding cell window, holding cells that were locked at the time, as they were used for storage. When the boy's face crosses the window's path, the screaming image slowly vanishes. Could it be a man now secretly living in the building? Maybe, or possibly some psycho spirit haunting his former holding cell. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the devil's chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the devil's chair? I think he should leave before things escalate. State-run buses that run through Hamashal Road, Transport Corporation, or HRTC are known to have some of the most treacherous bus routes in the world. Unpaved, muddy, and wet roads are just the beginning. There's also the landscape, mountainous and threatening. Here's just one of those routes, captured on camera. On the route Manali to Kannur, the ride is slow going as the roads are wobbly trenches in the mud. In this video, you see a train of buses precariously rocking back and forth as they meander alongside tall piles of snow, rugged mountains towering in the background. The large buses don't look so much like they're driving, rather they look like they're hopping. The cravats in the muddy road are assumingly frozen over, resulting in a jackhammer of a ride. And while the cliff edge on the right hand side of the buses don't appear to be a clear drop off, it's safe to say that one small overcorrection in the mud could potentially send a bus rolling down the mountain. I'm going to play it safe and steer clear of those routes. Redditor Pitboy1050 captured this on his security camera at work, and it may make you want to call in sick.
16 flatbed trailers are mounted with those fireworks and 200 miles of wire used carry, so it is an impressive showcase for these hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, some think it's a ghost. The way it hovers looks almost mechanical to me. The Redditor writes that it went on for longer, and he could see the entire figure from top to bottom, and then saw it leave. In some traditions, souls are said to stay on Earth for 40 days after their passing. It definitely looks like a pokong to me, but it could also just be a bug on the lens. Which side are you on? This New Orleans restaurant called Tableaux is thought to be haunted by a ghost who will punish you for what it perceives as any bad beverage selections. Here a waiter is preparing the room for a private party and has finished stocking the refreshments when, coincidentally, the bottles all fly off the shelf and land in the exact area he had just finished sweeping. 3 separate comments in this video further verify that this restaurant is quite haunted. One person said the window in this very same room unlatched itself, another said the fire alarm went off on its own, and a third person said they are never going there again because the spirit was staring at them. These comments, combined with this video evidence, is enough to build a strong case for the paranormal in my opinion, but let me know what you think. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class? One day, a man pulls up to a woman walking alongside her bicycle and asks if she needs help. She says no and indicates that she is living in the house nearby. Things have been strange ever since. The next day, the same man pulls all the way up her driveway and parks facing her house for a long time. He eventually backs away and drives off. The weird pattern of behavior continues for quite some time. Sometimes he would even drive by multiple times a day. Each incident was recorded by the home's CCTV system. Eventually, the man encounters her again and is told that she has a husband, but he does not give up. Now a different car shows up. Someone gets out and leaves a note asking if she would like to work for him, whatever that means. Instead of putting the note inside of the mailbox like a normal person, he spends a long time carefully hanging it from a nylon bag and stands around for almost 10 minutes before leaving. The first encounter happened in January, and the tapes stretch on well into the summer months. This man could have very well been obsessing about a woman who he had only met once or twice before. There's been no resolution as far as I know, and I'm not sure if the alleged stalking has ceased. These videos were taken at the annual Global Citizen Music Festival of 2018 in New York City. Everyone is enjoying the late night concert until a crowd of people suddenly start trying to escape and basically cause a stampede. Nobody knows what they are running from, and they won't find out until much later, but everybody is moving fast and afraid for their lives. Their voices are filled with panic, and raw fear fuels their every step as they grab their friends and try to get out as fast as they can.
What the just happened?
What's going on? Do you know what?
I have no idea what's happening.
The situation becomes all too real when a head officer of the NYPD comes on stage and makes a brief and serious sounding announcement.
Please, everybody, stop! Remain calm. Remain calm. Try and open up the fence in the back. We're trying to get everybody to remain calm. Try to move backwards.
Try to move backwards is all the police will say without any further explanation, which sends everyone into even more of an uproar. Those who make it out find the entrance is swarming with emergency vehicles, but still nobody knows why. As it turns out, the source of the commotion was a large steel barricade that fell over and made a loud banging noise. The bang carried throughout the venue and sounded like someone discharging a firearm, which caused a panic. I can only imagine how stressful this must have been for everybody, especially when none of them know what is wrong at the time. Fortunately, a strong police presence was able to keep the evacuation orderly and help stop people from trampling over each other. Urban explorers Stacy and Cliff are exploring the abandoned Bryce Hospital, an Alabama asylum that is haunted as can be. Little do they know a shadow person is following them all the while and can be seen caught on video multiple times. When they first enter the building, a paranormal presence compels Stacy to not only look to her left, but to call out as well.
Hello?
A partially hidden shadow figure stands in the doorway. As soon as she says hello, the screen blurs like movement is near. She feels the need to look again, but this time the mysterious shadow figure is gone. On a different floor, they see a strange passing shadow move across the doorway, though this bizarre movement could simply be a trick of the light and not necessarily paranormal. With that said, a few minutes later is when they see the shadow figure one final time, a ghost in the doorway watching them without a word, and as Stacy turns around, the shadowy figure smooths out and mysteriously disappears. They finish exploring the hospital without another mysterious figure sighting. The Leeds Library in the United Kingdom attracts top academics and research scholars, and apparently ghosts too, at least if this paranormal sighting caught on camera is to be believed. The spooky ghost activity was caught on tape during a paranormal investigation led by a group called Spirit Truth Seekers. Watch the camera blur when an apparition walks up and touches her at 6 minutes and 27 seconds.
Okay, I am feeling a breeze.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Are you stood by the lady across the table?
There's definitely something here. I just got a shiver.
The ghost meter goes off at the exact same time she feels the presence of something paranormal. A psychic with them says this ghost's name is John.
Are you the same male as we were talking to earlier? Spike.
And it isn't long before John the ghost is communicating with them through an EVP session caught on tape, British accent and all.
Say it again clearly, please. circle. Where are you stuck?
Tell them certain shot, the ghost says, perhaps alluding to how it passed away. The EVPs are cryptic, but then one message comes across very clearly.
Are you happy?
Hide, John says in a commanding voice. I would have probably gone running out of there, but they asked some more questions, and then, after failing to get much information, the ghost hunters called the EVP session to a close. The Leeds library is over 250 years old, so I have no problem believing it's haunted and this paranormal investigation is real.
I'm being followed.
Have you ever got the feeling that you were being followed? What if it were true? A YouTuber published this video of his experience being stalked in Japan in February of 2011. In the video, he explains that when he turned on his camera, this female stalker became interested in what he was up to, so she started following him. Despite his rather roundabout route, which he was using to try and lose her, you can see the woman over his shoulder, dressed all in black in a long coat with very pale skin. To make matters scarier, it's raining. The gloominess results in heightened fear. So what is this woman doing? Why is she following some random stranger in the street? Some even speculated that this man was in serious danger. Whoever she is, I'd get out of there, and fast. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted. If that's not a resident, a YouTuber named Exploring with Felicity is exploring an abandoned house when her solo paranormal investigation goes very wrong. She thinks she hears spooky and creepy noises upstairs, and I do too.
Very creepy.
Whatever it is, it doesn't sound like a wild animal.
I'm just trying to get used to.
She makes it to the second floor and is about to go to the third when a spectral figure passes by. We don't get to see if this was a real ghost sighting or a scary stranger dressed in all black, because she is too busy running out of the abandoned house to get a closer look, which to some is all the paranormal evidence needed to conclude this scary video is probably real. Roosevelt High is a school in St. Louis, Missouri, rumored to have been built on top of an old graveyard long ago. Now, a paranormal investigator named Soul Searching stands by the bleachers of a football field with a spirit box to find out if people were buried here like the local legends say.
Are there any spirits here?
4 seconds later, this voice comes through with a strong reply. When asked how it feels, the same voice replies with a flat answer that lacks all emotion, which I guess underscores its bleak point.
Are you upset?
I'm showing this so you can hear for yourself that all of the answers make sense and they're all coming from the same voice, so I think this is real. The final answer pretty much confirms it.
Is your body still here?
But just to be sure, soul searching moves on to the school itself, where a spirit confirms its presence when asked to do so.
Oh, that was a yep.
Here's the only part I'm not so sure about.
Can you turn the lights on now? It wasn't on before.
Soul searching thinks the lights are off, but I think they may have been on the whole time. It's hard to tell though, so I will give her the benefit of the doubt that the light came on by itself, especially given how much paranormal activity was on the football field earlier. 3 friends on a YouTube channel called W2S decide to invent a game that they will all soon regret. All you have to do to win is kick a soccer goal from a rooftop pass. After nearly breaking a window and denting a car, they decide to try the game one last time. When they go to throw the ball to the guy on the rooftop, however, things don't go so well. Their friend misses the ball and tumbles all the way down from the roof to the ground. The only thing that breaks his fall is the roof of a car, which he heavily before slamming into the gravel below. He is somehow miraculously fine. This could have easily resulted in something much worse. When you head into the middle of nowhere in search of a cave, you certainly aren't looking to meet strangers. YouTuber Lil Goofy says that whenever he goes to this place, nobody is there. Not this time. He published this video of the incident in July of 2019 writing, "I brought a friend to see a rare cave in our local mountains that hardly anyone goes to. On our way up through a trail that leads to the caves, a stranger came out and waves at us. Then he pulled out what looked to be a big blade, so me and my friend ran since we didn't have any protection nor cell phones." In the video, the stranger is pointed out at a distance. He's dressed in black, and the YouTuber notes that his hands are behind his back. When the pair realize that the man has a blade, they hightail it out of there as fast as they can. As they slow to a stop, realizing they both left their phones in the car, the stranger rounds the corner, and they run off again, taking a left fork in the trail and wondering if the stranger knows the trail better than they do. After a while, they watch for their pursuer and catch him on video running up the trail. Finally, they make it back to their car in one piece. What were this man's intentions? Evil or not, this looked like it wouldn't have ended well. Our next entry reunites us with Dark Ghost, a Russian paranormal investigator who has encountered some truly terrifying entities. However, this latest video quite possibly takes the cake. In what he himself describes as the scariest house he has investigated, an email with coordinates brought Dark Ghost to the location in question. According to the message's text, the girl who sent it claimed an elderly couple once resided there and experienced countless disturbing occurrences, mainly from the home's basement. Among them were unexplained noises, including full conversations and something attempting to open the basement from below. After the couple passed, the home was inherited by their relatives. However, they refused to move in, and the home has been abandoned ever since. Dark Ghost's investigation starts off quiet, and he states he hasn't experienced anything, and it is already reaching 11:30 p.m. He then proceeds to set up stationary cameras, and that is when the activity starts. Not long after he leaves the room, the static cam witnesses a glass move on its own, sliding close to the edge of the shelf it is on. None of the other glasses are disturbed, and it wasn't knocked by anything, as it wouldn't slide in such a manner if it were. It is almost as if something is either pushing or pulling it. It is then tipped off the edge and breaks. Dark Ghost was in the middle of explaining to his camera what he did when he heard the glass break, and that's when things get really crazy. Without warning, the entire house begins to aggressively shake, enough to send bricks collapsing from the ceiling. This lasts only a few seconds before ending just as suddenly. Dark Ghost, well stunned, thankfully is uninjured and moves in to assess the damage. As he is inspecting the kitchen, where the static camera is, he is startled by what sounds like a floorboard being pushed up, followed by several loud bangs from the other room. They sound either like a fist pounding against a wall or floor, or very heavy footsteps, but it is difficult to tell. Inspired by what has happened, Dark Ghost decides to start an EVP session in an attempt to communicate with whatever is there.
Кто вы?
He starts by asking if anyone from the spirit world is present, and despite receiving no immediate answer, eventually the device comes back with "help us." He continues to press for the entity to identify itself, and soon after it responds with, "We've been trapped." When asked where, it responds, "He trapped us down here." Earlier, when Dark Ghost heard the floorboard move, it has been covered in rubble. It again requests help and asks Dark Ghost to open the basement. However, 30 seconds after this request, something else appears to come through and say, "Don't open it," followed by, "They're lying." Clearly, there are multiple spirits communicating, each with contradicting requests. After several more requests to open the basement, an entity replies with a chilling phrase, "I will deliberately eat your heart."
Я сейчас, друзья, специально...
By now, it is clear one of the entities there has malicious intent against Dark Ghost, and while he initially states he will not open the basement, and receiving some talk back as a result, curiously gets the better of him and he decides to lift the floorboard and venture down. At first, he attempts to use an RC car fitted with a camera, but unfortunately the camera battery dies. Despite his better judgment, he ventures down himself. After a few minutes of crawling without incident, he stumbles across a small bone in the dirt. As he takes a closer look, a sudden noise as if something hitting metal can be heard in front of him. At the same moment on his static camera, left to hold to the basement, a shadow figure can be seen against the cupboards in the kitchen. As it vanishes, he emerges and claims to have heard hissing from below. As he is working to get the boards back in place, a very loud hiss sends him rushing out of the hole. This proves to be all he can take, and all for his safety, he returns the board to the floor and decides to leave it for the night. Something in the home clearly wants out, and to cause harm, but one must wonder who the other poor soul trapped with it is, willing to warn others not to fall for the lies the other spirit says. A YouTuber named Concerned Citizen made this channel to expose his creepy neighbor, who he claims to have caught looking at his wife and other family members late at night. Here you can see the neighbor stare at the house and then briefly shine his high-powered flashlight through a window before walking away. I can think of no other reason for him to be doing this other than to watch the activities of the people inside, which is both bizarre and scary. He repeats this behavior throughout a series of videos, each time capturing a brief glimpse of a family member before retrieving back to his home. According to the police, there is nothing in the law against doing this because he is merely observing the home from his own property. Hopefully, he stays in his yard and never gets the idea to take an even closer look one night. A pet snapping turtle doesn't take kindly to its owners and already has its mouth open. The warning sign goes unheeded, but thankfully one of his friends inadvertently saves him by getting his attentions moments before this happens.
He said, "What's up?"
This was almost a solid chunk of flesh taken out of his face, and a trip for medical attention for certain. Something is way wrong with this store, and I want to know if it's fake or a real ghost. Tell me if this wire moves by itself, or if it's simply the way that it's been tangled up. An hour later, these items fall off the shelf, but they are stacked kind of weird and could have been slid off. Then, a full 10 hours later, 3 more items drop down, and a 4th falls from the back of the pile to the floor. Sure, they are round, but are they round enough to roll off the shelf with no one nearby? Seems unlikely. Maybe the shelves are unlevel, or maybe whoever stocked them is just piling them on top of each other to fall off later, or maybe it's a real ghost after all. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains 2 students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The 2 student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. This video of a shaky, alien-looking pod looks like it really shouldn't exist anywhere on planet Earth, let alone some random person's basement. The way it moves from left to right without being touched makes me think that some strange life form is about to burst forth. Most of the comments agree that this could be some sort of egg or cocoon with a foreign host inside. Note how strange furry hair seems to protrude from sections of its hardened exterior, further indicating that this is in fact a living organism of some kind. The video ends before we can see what hatches, but whatever it is, I just hope it isn't something that is harmful. This may surprise you, but there are certain tribes around the Amazon rainforest that have never had contact with the modern outside world. These shots from above paint a picture of these uncontacted tribes being hostile towards seeing helicopters and drones in the air. So encounters with them are quite rare, since it's best not to interfere with these tribes. So this new drone footage was jaw-dropping when they actually managed to capture this uncontacted tribe on video. If you look closely, you can see there's 16 people quietly walking through the rainforest here. I think it's best if they don't try to get any closer. They certainly don't want a repeat of what happened before. It's creepy to think there's people on this earth who have never seen the modern world, but I agree these groups should remain uncontacted and self-sufficient. Driskill Hotel is one of the most legendarily haunted hotels in all of Texas. This is where you'll find a painting of a senator's 4-year-old daughter named Samantha, who supposedly fell down a flight of steps at the hotel and met her end. Her soul is said to reside in the painting now, and she will change facial expressions if you look at her for long enough. Just look at what happens when this YouTuber, named Emily, takes a glance at the painting.
Mom, her face does change.
Has it changed?
Yes, it just changed when I started looking at it.
Jacob, did it change?
After freaking out for a bit, Emily bravely walks back up to the picture and takes another look. Try to examine the picture when the camera zooms in on it and tell me if you see Samantha's eyes move. I personally do not see it, but maybe I'm missing something.
Her eyes are moving. Oh my god. Her eye just moved up. I'm not lying.
If you want to find out what else this painting can supposedly do, then be sure to check out my other video called 7 Haunted Paintings. If you ever crept through cemeteries looking for ghosts, then you might regret finding them. This video was posted in March of 2012 saying, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like the ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was filmed in Kinder Cemetery. And as the sign reads, the cemetery was established in 1902, so plenty of time for ghosts to lay down their claim. As the camera pans the cemetery, you can see a short-lived flash of light near a grave. Can you spot it? Well, some in the comments of this video doubt that it was anything more than a flash. Others, like YouTuber Dang Cho, claim to see hair sticking out of the red circle. YouTuber Yvette Sanchez notes that it is an apparition. Of course, the ghost is not going to be easy to spot, but if you look hard enough, you can see something is there. Well, you can certainly see a flash. It's a bit of a stretch to say the ghost is of a young boy from the early 1900s in my opinion. You can't really make out anything more than the light. But what is that glow? Is it the young spirit shining? Or is it just a trick of the light? An urban exploration and paranormal investigation channel called SCPC Ghost makes a video about an abandoned house in Colton, California for no reason other than he thinks it looks interesting enough to record on camera. He videos the outside of the house from some different angles for a while and then decides it's time to explore the inside. The inside is well lit, and yet there is a mysterious moving shadow that may or may not be paranormal. The shadow goes away, and that's when he hears a soft, creepy noise.
Hello? Anybody here?
Nobody responds, and so he decides to fully investigate the abandoned house for evidence of the paranormal. In the kitchen, he records what could be a small pale ghost sighting in the window. In the back of the abandoned house, he finds what could be a secret room. On the other side of this brick wall, there's an opening that's too small to climb through, but small enough to drop food into, like someone was held captive.
It's crazy. The toilet.
And the marks on this door shown at 2 minutes likewise look like someone tried to claw their way out. It's a small search, and he's about to leave when he realizes there's one final creepy dark room to explore for paranormal evidence. He does not get a single step inside before he finds out this abandoned house is not so abandoned after all.
I can't see nothing. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
A voice in the darkness scares him, and he does not look inside to see who it belongs to. Had he checked, he might have found the room was empty, and that the woman's voice was nothing more than an EVP caught on camera. Instead, he sidesteps into the other room and, in doing so, accidentally records a mysterious moving shadow figure on the way out.
Just taking some pictures of the property. I'll be out here in a second, alright? Scared me.
I don't know if this is a paranormal ghost encounter or a woman who is going through hard times and trying to hide. All I know is that a voice doesn't have to sound scary to be terrifying, at least not when it's coming from the darkest corners of this sad little abandoned home. A YouTuber named Waffle Vlogs records a strange man standing outside his apartment home. According to Waffle Vlogs, this uninvited guest stood at his front door and then started walking the parking lot for a long time.
What's he doing out there?
He stares out at nothing for a while and eventually walks back to his car, which is a relief, but still doesn't explain what he was doing there to begin with. Waffle Vlogs seems just as confused as we are about what just happened to him. He thinks that he might have been getting his house cased out. I have no reason not to believe him. Do you? Green Gables is the name of a fine dining restaurant in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. The 100-year-old building is said to be haunted to the point where one worker would start recording with their phone whenever they felt something was wrong, and one night they were right.
And I don't know, something doesn't feel right about this place. Like it's I can't even describe what it feels like right now. Like this is just, what is that? Nope.
A shadowy hand definitely just extended across the waist of the statue in my opinion. It doesn't look like a trick of the light or anything like that. These creepy situations are exactly what this century-old haunted estate is known for, so I think it's real. Oh, and one more thing that's weird. Shortly before noping out of there, the employee notices a deep slice across the length of its stone throat. Is this another paranormal sign, or just normal wear and tear? The wardrobe ritual is one of the paranormal world's most dangerous games. YouTubers PIT Paranormal Investigation Team complete the ritual, which turns up more than they expected.
Cosa? 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 Riaccendilo.
Something grabs Debbie, and it isn't human. What was that? A human-like hand appears for a moment to grab Debbie's shoulder, but no one is behind her. I do believe the ritual was successful. They summoned a demon. Now the question is, how do you send it back? According to YouTubers, most who've watched this video arrived there by typing in a random emoji into the search bar. That may be because the video shows a woman replacing her prosthetic eye. At the start of the video, the woman's eyes look nearly identical. The coloring is the exact same. In fact, I'd be surprised if you knew without reading the title that one of these eyes is fake, and I'd highly doubt that you could guess the real from the prosthetic. That's how good prosthetic eyes are in this day and age. But what happens next will make you question everything. The smiling woman holds open the bottom lid of her left eye, and after a little bit of finicking, the eye slides right out. All that remains is the eye socket. The woman then shows you her prosthetic, which is really just the front half of an eyeball. It is concave and empty behind. She replaces it in her eye by inserting it up behind her upper lid and then pulling her lower lid out to wrap around the bottom of the prosthetic. The eye is now back in place. She demonstrates its movement, and while it doesn't show as wide a range of circulation as a regular eye, it's certainly impressive what modern technology has done to improve visual prosthetics. If you've ever wondered what La Llorona sounds like, elcacoid.tv has the answer for you. Luckily, she's not there in the shower.
Juro que escuché aquí. Juro que. Mames, Mames.
And she sounds a lot nearer in the end, so she must be leaving. At least I hope that's the case for the person behind the camera. Sometimes when you're horsing around on TikTok, you capture something you'd least expect. Shannon Brianna claims to have caught a ghost on camera. The clip shows an animated avatar doing a little dance, excited to go to bed, but watch this picture in the mirror. A shadow crosses its path, making the otherwise innocent scene wholly unnerving. Was someone in the room with Shannon? Was that a shadow figure or just a regular old ghost? Whatever it is, not sure if I'd be so excited to go to bed after seeing a creepy shadow across my bedroom wall. Many human disappearances can be explained, but not this one. Published to TikTok by Horror Talk, this is one of the strangest things ever caught on CCTV. The scary video shows two young boys walking a dirt path. Nothing is around them and they appear to be in a rural area, not a city. As they're walking, all of a sudden the kid to the right is zapped into oblivion. His friend looks over for a moment and finds his friend has vanished. He then runs off in fear for his own life. TikToker Void Z notes in the comments that there is an X on the ground. and the boy stepped right in the middle of it. Could it have been a teleportation route of some kind? If so, where did this poor boy end up? It appears something quite nefarious is happening here. Dennis of Dark Ghost Paranormal is at his breaking point in this scary video. Published in March of 2022, Dennis encounters the most terrible demon in this haunted abode. Dennis conducts an EGF session with a horned skull facing a mirror. It tells him, "You let him out." After asking what he should do, the skull requests a ritual. He's told to burn it and take it to the swamp. Otherwise, the demon will follow him. He is also told that the demon is here. Dennis creeps around the house searching. He doesn't need to look far. Dennis is later dragged across the room by his heel. After regaining his feet, he calmly takes in the entire disaster zone. Then an object under a big draping robe moves toward him. Is this the demon? He'd better get to that ritual. I have a feeling there is worse to come. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. This camera caught movement where there was none, at least upon first glance. Redditor Lexi shares this mysterious video to the paranormal video subreddit. Keep an eye on the back bathroom. Did you see it? Something peeked in and out of the bathroom. And yet, according to the Redditor, no one is in there. Some in the comments think there's a squatter hanging out in the Redditor's ceiling, but to me, this looks pretty clearly like a shadow person. A YouTuber named Dan Baines is the keeper of Mr. Fritz, a ventriloquist dummy that was once used to entertain the troops during the 1940s. He's very old and has since fallen apart to the point where all that remains is his disembodied head. Mr. Fritz is believed to be possessed by the spirit of his creator, a man who lost his life in battle and refuses to rest in peace. Lately, Dan has been seeing and hearing things all around the antique, so he sets up a camera to record. It's 3:30 in the morning when the glass door pops open. I don't see a string. Do you? This happens again at around the same time the next night, except this time his eyes open. String or no string, watch this part and tell me how a wooden ventriloquist dummy can open its eyes with no one nearby. And if you zoom in for a closer look, you'll see two orbs race by shortly after the case opens. I'm not saying that this video is impossible to fake, but unless this is an electronic prop that is being controlled with a remote, then I don't see how it can be done. While using the Randonautica app, Sunny Deeds and CJ Faison were driven into one of the most haunted forests in America. Even before setting out on their journey, they hear something in the woods.
Sonny, I'm not kidding you, we had a like 20-mile drive to one day.
They quickly head out and arrive at their destination.
Alright, so I don't... What, So there's supposed to be something here associated with, what is it?
Mysterious information.
Again, something is nearby.
Conspiracy on what actually, you know, is believed to...
The was that?
Is it stalking them? It sure seems like it. Soon they find a note on the ground. And it says, let's see if they are.
What are the odds of that?
And moments later,
Woohoo!
their fun soon turns to terror.
What the was that?
Dude, that was a bat.
Was it a bat?
It literally just buzzed right by your guy's head. I hope
Damn.
the camera caught that.
Although the latest mystery may be solved, I'm still wondering if Sunny and CJ have a stalker who remains unseen. A YouTuber named Godiva calls this a bizarre sighting caught on camera, and he's definitely right. The slow-moving shadow figure grows larger as it extends over this house. It's all caught on their home CCTV system, and it's a creepy moment for sure, but tell me if it's a formless shadow person or some sort of insect. It's the middle of the night and Anna Grayson keeps hearing heavy thumping sounds coming from the hallway. She spends a full minute walking around to make sure that everybody is asleep, which they are. As soon as she gets back into her room, the house becomes extremely still and suspenseful. I get the sensation of being watched here, do you? Anna does not feel safe at all, peeks under the door, probably half expecting to see shoes on the other side. She doesn't see that, but what she experiences next indeed confirms her suspicions. The fact that she patrols the entire house and hears nothing until the moment she steps back into her room makes me think that someone else is in the house with Anna and her family, something that will patiently wait until everyone's guard is down to strike. Now Mar5 is a popular vlogger with a channel full of entertaining videos and some creepy ones too. One of his creepy videos has him exploring a haunted, abandoned school in his home country of Turkey. The scary things he's caught on tape in this haunted place are no doubt creepy beyond all mention, so I'll let the chilling paranormal evidence speak for itself. A ghost figure, or maybe just a weird person dressed in all black, is in this room and refuses to leave.
Bey, خلينا فوت قدام. Bey.
Abi bakar mısın?
Selamünaleyküm.
Abi.
I'm not sure if this video of a ghost sighting is real or fake, but I think it could be real because they run out of there faster than any other scary video I've ever analyzed. If this video doesn't get your heart racing, it certainly did for this guy. His name is Daniel Stanley, and he gets so pumped up that he can make his heart do this. Watch this and tell me if you know what medical condition this is called. I couldn't find much information on this person, aside from the name and his reputation for being able to make his heart race so hard it nearly pops out of his chest. So please fill me in about his life if you happen to know more. William Hernandez has a serious problem to deal with. He claims that every day the same red truck pulls over in front of his home and watches him and his wife. William finally breaks down and sets up a CCTV system for proof. The very next day, the same red truck stops across the street right after they pull into the driveway, almost like he followed them home. William calmly snaps a photo of the driver's license plate, and the truck quickly takes off. He's posted numerous updates to his channel since this incident, but it's unclear if he was ever able to identify who was watching him and his family. Remember when you were younger and you heard the twinkling song of the ice cream truck calling all the neighborhood out for a sweet treat? Well, would you have come running if it had sounded like this? YouTuber Sean Bob Guy published this clip in June of 2008, writing that this demonic ice cream van shows up every single day at his apartment complex. The thing always scares his cat. The cat is probably not the only one with hair on end. Usually parents tell their kids if strangers offer candy to run like heck, particularly strangers in white creepy vans. Well, this scenario isn't too far off. The ice cream truck's tune sounds nothing short of creepy, giving it a distinct horror movie vibe. You know, the warbling song right before Chucky pops out and takes a life. You can almost expect the clown from It to be serving up soft serves from this truck. Probably not the most inviting image. To add to the creepiness, the vehicle isn't even a truck but is literally a white van driving very slowly through a neighborhood to lure passersby. And at the end of the video, it seems one is lured as a person comes running over to order from the creepiest ice cream van ever. YouTuber Lynn writes in the comments, "If animals act weird around this sort of thing, it's definitely haunted." The rat nest adds, "And the people who posted this were never seen again." One thing's for sure, this evil tune should never exist. Cat videos can only be this creepy when they're from Russia. They leave the cat on the bed and go into the living room, which they think is haunted, and put down the camera. Caught on tape is some strange activity, perhaps paranormal, or really weird things to say the least. One of them is behind the chair moving things. I'm sure some will say,
Я не боюсь. Вдруг там что-то заснялось на видео. Ты давай теперь убирай. Я оставил, ты убирай.
I thought the same thing, but when I first showed them walking into the room at 1 minute and 2 seconds, you and I both get a glimpse under the chair. Nothing is there. Did they crawl under the camera after they put it down, or is something supernatural haunting the house like they claim? A YouTuber named Confuseo Mental orders a box off the dark web that he's not so sure about, so he puts on some gloves. The first thing he unfurls is an old scroll with what I think could be ancient Hebrew text, translated if you can. I will admit the paper itself looks like it could be artificially aged, but who knows? Wrapped and locked in a tiny casket with similar text adorning the top. Again, translate if you can, please. Something tells me that this is either a blessing to help guide this tiny soul to the other side, or else a warning telling others not to open it. A warning that's totally ignored as he continues to handle the object. I'm curious about what these numbers across the top with the letter E at the end could mean. I'm sure someone out there is smart enough to figure this all out. He puts a mask on ready for the stench of something rotting, but instead finds this extra creepy demonic doll and look into the center of its eyes at 26 minutes and 13 seconds. They're reflecting light. Now that's certainly creepy. A child is quietly doing homework at the living room coffee table, but something in the room doesn't want to keep the peace. This creepy clip was published by Adit and Anika in May of 2021. According to the video's timestamp, the footage was originally captured nearly 2 decades ago at around 1:40 p.m. on April 13th, 2001. A child is writing, a cupboard door on the entertainment center flies open. The little girl doesn't seem too rattled by it. Perhaps she is used to strange poltergeist activity in her home. She walks calmly over to shut it and sits back down to her homework, but the energy in the room isn't done harassing her. 2 of the doors pop open simultaneously. One of them closes on its own, while the girl closes the other. Again, she doesn't appear surprised by the incident, and studiously heads back over to return to her work. That's when the poltergeist decides to shock her once and for all. The coffee table moves on its own, rolling across the floor. At this, the girl screams and races out of the room. For the ghost, mission accomplished. At least she'll have a real excuse for not finishing her homework. Ghost towns are abandoned for a reason. Published to YouTube by Ricky Velasquez in May of 2020. Ricky claims the devil appeared, writing in Spanish. I have no words to describe what happened. I don't think I can forget. This was filmed in a town in Mexico with around 250 residents. It's ostensibly a ghost town, and the duo's exploration of it is enough to run you out of town too. After doing some sort of ritual in the yard, outside an abandoned building, involving liquid being sprayed and fire being lit, the pair wanders around the grounds. As the cameraman takes in the surroundings in infrared mode, he spots something that gives him a fright. He decides to get out of there, hurrying down a dirt path. That's when he happens upon this. El Diablo disappears, but you can still feel him there. It's no wonder Ricky cannot forget. Moral of the story, if you call him, he will come. This paranormal crew investigated the Clearwater Demon House in Reno, Nevada. And judging by this communication with the spirits, dark energy is here.
See these bones?
Break, please. O-I.
Break, please. You said, look at these bones. And then it goes, break, please.
That seems like a clear message. The team later sees a figure on their Kinect device.
There are 2, like just on the edge of the stairs. There they are.
Right.
Oh.
There?
No, it was over there. It was right here by the stairs, and then it just appeared back over there.
But that's not all. They soon capture an even more ominous presence on camera. Watch the window as this crew member enters the house.
I thought I saw some kind of black shadow behind that window, but I didn't even realize until I reviewed the footage that I'd captured probably one of the best shadow figures I've ever seen.
Even more interesting, the camera from inside the room captures the opposite side of the window, and there's nothing there.
What was that? I don't think that was a shadow. It was on the other side of that window.
They didn't fully comprehend seeing the shadow figure in the moment, but watching the footage back sent chills up their spine. I know it did mine. After seeing this, I don't think I would have entered that house ever again. This urban explorer thinks he's in an abandoned building. Maybe not. Published by Bulgarian channel Pini Studio in December of 2020. The scary video shows the cameraman standing in a stairwell. He hears something above him that sounds like footsteps. He looks up. After a moment, a hooded figure moves into view, just 1 floor up, blocking the sunlight from a window above. He stands there and they stare at each other for a moment. Then, terrified, the cameraman takes off running. Who is this figure, and what does it want? As it appears for now, we will never know. Daffy of Busan TV is a YouTuber from Ambon, Indonesia, who makes ghost hunting videos in Depok City. One of the scariest, most haunted places he's ever gone exploring was a large abandoned hospital that shut down after too many things went wrong.
Belum lama rumah sakit ini terbengkalai, astagfirullah. Serem amat ya.
One of the hospital's final mistakes before getting shut down was letting a nun named Sister Nancy pass away on the ICU floor. Now her angry spirit is watching over this haunted place and not in a loving way.
Assalamualaikum. Wow. Antara gua halu atau tidak, tapi tadi gua ngeliat seperti ada orang lewat di sini.
As Daffy goes exploring, only the smallest of clues, flashes of light where his camera is not pointing, for example, belie the presence of anything paranormal. A walled-off entrance reveals an even older wing that feels entirely wrong. This place is haunted more than any other part of the hospital. He's sure of it. Soon he finds the ICU room on the second floor, the place where the ghost nun is said to haunt. He knows there's no turning back now.
Tadi gue mendengar sesuatu dari arah sini. Oke, kita langsung aja ke ruang ICU. Suster Nancy.
He leaves the ICU ward feeling extremely uncomfortable, but without conclusive paranormal evidence, and as he takes a final look around...
Keren, sumpah ini keren. Assalamualaikum.
He hears something moving on wheels one room over. A row of cots remains undisturbed except for one that's been pulled out. I don't know if it was Sister Nancy, but I wouldn't stick around to find out. This video is over half an hour long, and I get every impression that he's truly exploring this abandoned hospital all by himself. A hospital that's every bit as haunted as the rumors say. Reet's boy records what he thinks is a rare creature sighting, and while I think he might be right, I would like your help to confirm. Some of the dogs in his neighborhood are going crazy, so he zooms in on where they're barking and just barely makes out this figure possibly watching from afar. At 38 seconds, you get a much better look when he zooms in.
Bro, do you see it?
It's hard to tell for sure, but I think something is definitely there, and it kind of looks like the upper half of a shadow person. Fear suddenly overcomes Reet's boy, and he runs back inside before it gets any closer. Definitely the smart choice. While on duty at a hospital one night, a security guard noticed something alarming on CCTV footage at around 11 p.m. Let's take a look. The mysterious ball of fire is later seen returning from the other end of the hall. The security officer notes that senior officers said this phenomenon is unexplained, but not uncommon. Many attest to having seen a child spirit, as well as the apparition of a young woman, wandering the grounds of this place. Is this one of their souls? I'd like to believe it is, but we can't rule out your run-of-the-mill bug anomaly either. Weigh in with your opinion in the comments. Remember that footage of the Raging Eagle Creek forest fire? Just imagine being in the middle of it. driving right through the very center. While driving, I can only imagine they're wondering whether or not they'll live through this horror, or maybe they've already gone to the other side. In the video, you can barely see the road as smoke rises all over and hellish fire springs up along the roadside. Sparks of embers fly across the windshield, making the viewer feel like they're in the center of a fire pit. You can also see specks of black ash flick across the window. Finally, they make it onto the main road and make a break for it. Although it's still very smoky, slowly but surely the smoke vanishes as they escape the fire zone. That was one scary and wild ride. YouTuber Memoria Sobrenatural INC believes they were guided to this location by something paranormal, and maybe that's true, but it doesn't seem to want to let him in.
Opa! Cara, que é isso, mano? Cara, que é isso?
At first, it seems like something might just be pushed up against the door blocking it, but then you see movement. Watch the crack in the doorway.
Olha isso, cara. Dá uma olhada.
Whatever's inside doesn't seem human.
Cara, você é louco? Eu juro que eu achei que eu tinha visto o demônio aqui agora, a hora que eu fui abrir a porta. Cara, meu coração foi a mil aqui, ó. Bom, pessoal, eu acho que...
Phew, it's just a bull. Or is it? I think this horned beast is more demon than it appears. This was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Skateboard Chris. The Redditor wrote, I accidentally deleted the raw video and not the TikTok that automatically saved, but this is the second time I've caught a light switch turning off and on by itself. My dog reacts too, and when the video zooms in, it does appear that the light switches turn on and off of their own accord. Hawaii Sunburnt 20 commented, I would be taking apart that light switch. Would you be curious enough to do the same? I'd be getting far away from this haunted house. The next time you shower, don't look up. Published by Tia Bassi in March of 2022. This creepy video shows what could be the hair in your drain come to life. The clip shows a shower curtain pulled to the side, while up in the corner near the ceiling is this extraterrestrial-like critter. It looks spidery, but with even more legs than usual. It somehow also looks like a great pile of tangled hair. What do you think this is? I think it's time to throw the whole house away. Live TV caught the earth-trembling tsunami that smashed into Japan after a magnitude 9 quake on March 11, 2011. The images that followed are pretty terrifying. The earthquake was so powerful that it was felt everywhere, from the fjords in Norway to the ice sheet of Antarctica. It was so powerful that it redistributed the Earth's mass and shifted it on its axis. Our day's length has been cut short by a microsecond. It was so powerful that Honshu, Japan's main island, was moved about 8 feet east, and as the tsunami traversed the Pacific, 110,000 nesting seabirds were taken out by the 5-foot wave. It was so powerful that aftershocks continued to hit Japan during the year that followed, 5,000 to be exact. It was so powerful that 6 years later, and the tsunami's devastation is still being dealt with in Japan, where of the 150,000 evacuees still left, whose homes were lost to the quake, a third are still in temporary housing. As for the cost of damages in US dollars, it rang in at about 199 billion, but because the earthquake was followed up by the tsunami, and both were unexpected, the 2-in-1 had devastating results. It got worse. A cooling system failure resulted from the tsunami at the Fukushima nuclear power plant, releasing radioactive materials. A horrible event in and of itself. Told you, nature can be terrifying. It's growing inside this lady's forehead. I stumbled across this image on the YouTube channel blah blah and I had to find out more. Trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community, I discovered the original source was TikTok account Sejera Palawin. The video shows a woman crying desperately as a small baby-like demon face appears to be popping out of her forehead. Meanwhile, someone performs a blessing over her. I'm not sure how to explain this one. Either this woman has an unfortunate arrangement of deep dimples in her forehead that just so happens to look like a face in certain light, or she really does have a demon inside of her. If that's what's happening here, we'd better get ready for some serious dark magic at work. I just hope in the end this woman was alright. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.